Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to my channel Science of Life with Dr. Mumtaz Yusuf. Today we are going to discuss the intermediate mechanism of arterial pressure control. Rapid mechanism we had discussed in the previous lecture. So today we'll talk intermediate mechanism. But before that, one ayah from Holy Quran. As per my routine, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. إن الله يحب الذين يقاتلون في سبيله صفا كأنهم بنيان مرصوص. ये सूरह सफ की आयत है, 4 नंबर आयत. इन अल्लाह बेशक अल्लाह युहिब्बुल्लज़ीना उन लोगों से मोहब्बत करता है, उन लोगों को पसंद करता है. युक़ातिलून फ़ी सबीलिही जो अल्लाह के रस्ते में जिहाद करते हैं, सफ़न सफ़ लड़ते हैं, जंग करते हैं, सफ़न सफ़ें बना के खड़े, कान्नहुम बुनियानुम मरसूस, वो ऐसी सफ़ें बनाते हैं जैसे शीशा पिलाई हुई दीवार होते हैं. अल्लाह के रस्ते में जब जिहाद की नौबत आ जाए, जिहाद जब जब फ़र्ज होता है वो तो अलग बातें हैं, लेकिन जब जिहाद में शिरकत हो तो फिर पीछे नहीं हटना होता. तो ये है कि वो शीशा पिलाई हुई दीवार की तरह वो फिर खड़े हो जाते हैं. अल्लाह ताला इनको पसंद करता है. अल्लाह पाक समझ अमल की तौफीक अता फरमाए. Last time we were discussing the rapid mechanism of the blood pressure control, and that was a long lecture. That should have not been. Usually, I prefer smaller lectures on this YouTube and smaller lectures, but that was a long lecture. And these few slides from the previous lecture, I discussed this Cushing reaction in the previous, but that was quickly I passed through. So I have, for repetition, I have added a few slides from the previous lecture as well. Cushing reaction, that is a special type of the CNS ischemic response. When there is ischemia to the brain, there is intense sympathetic stimulation occurs. CNS ischemic response, we discussed it because of the low blood pressure, low blood flow to the brain causing ischemia. But here in this Cushing reaction or Cushing reaction, this ischemia is not due to fall in the blood pressure. It is due to increase in the cerebrospinal fluid pressure. Pressure in the cerebrospinal fluid is more than the arterial pressure, then the artery is passing through the cerebrospinal fluid. All the brain vessels are in the cerebrospinal fluid. So the pressure in the cerebrospinal fluid, it is more than the arterial pressure, then those arteries will obliterate, they will block, there will be reduced blood flow. So ischemia will occur, and same response of the CNS ischemic response will occur. So CNS ischemic response, not due to fall in the BP, ischemia due to the increased cerebrospinal fluid pressure and this above the blood arterial pressure, and the occlusion of the cerebral blood vessel will occur, and it will cause the CNS ischemia, and this will cause the CNS ischemic response to increase the pressure. How much increase? It should be sufficient to open, it should be more than the CSF pressure. CSF से जब भी ज़्यादा होगा vessel will remain open. So the CNS ischemic response elevates the blood pressure above the cerebrospinal fluid to open the vessels, and blood pressure is maintained at this new equilibrium. जब तक CSF pressure के से हमेशा arterial pressure will remain high. So it will, the new equilibrium will be there. तो इस पे blood pressure इतना elevated रहेगा. ये diagram भी बताई थी मैंने. You experimentally we can observe that if you increase the cerebrospinal fluid by this pressure bottle, say if you increase the pressure in the cerebrospinal fluid, we will observe increase in the blood pressure. We will increase cerebrospinal fluid pressure को जब हम रिकॉर्ड करेंगे, arterial pressure increase cerebrospinal fluid, जो ही भी increase it, then the blood pressure will rise. नॉर्मल pressure से ये बढ़ जाएगा. जब वापस करेंगे, जब इसको वापस करेंगे, the pressure will decrease. So it is the natural mechanism. Brain को blood flow जारी रखने का natural mechanism है this Cushing reaction. Skeletal muscle contraction, they also contribute toward the blood pressure control. For example, abdominal compression. Abdominal muscle, if the blood pressure is low, then the baroreceptor stimulation will and chemoreceptor stimulation will cause stimulation of the somatic nerve to abdominal muscle to contribute for venous return toward the heart, and though blood pressure should be increased. Stimulation of the somatic nerve to abdominal muscle, contraction of the abdominal muscle will also contribute a compression of the abdominal vein to increase the venous return. Translocation of the blood in the abdominal aorta, etc., and increase the venous return, that will elevate the blood pressure. So this is again one. People having muscle paralysis have poor blood pressure control. ये वाला element जिनमें ना हो, अगर paralysis हो, then this element is जब इसको कम कर देंगे, then the blood pressure control will be poor. Exercise में, this is very important. Exercise में blood pressure has to be increased. That is, the compression of the veins throughout the body will occur with the contracting muscles, and this will cause the translocation of the blood. Venous pump will be more active. These skeletal muscles are the part of the venous pump. Contraction of the skeletal muscle will increase the pumping in the veins toward the brain, so there will be increased venous return, and that will increase the cardiac output, and that will increase the blood pressure. So cardiac output may be increased 5 to 6 times in severe exercise. All that, सारी चीजें, all the factors मिला के, sympathetic stimulation will occur in exercise, contraction of the muscle will increase the venous return, all that will lead to the increased cardiac output up to 5 to 6 times. That is, normal cardiac output is 5 liter per minute. It is 6 times, that means 30 liters per minute may occur in exercise. So blood pressure will also increase, and this is required to force the more nutrients into the contracting muscle. They will need more oxygen, more nutrients, etc. More pressure head is needed for the more blood flow in the muscle. So increased blood pressure 130 to 160. Important to supply more blood needed. It is required during exercise. So this is also important. Anticipatory contraction of the muscle also occur even before exercise. If one person is thinking to start exercise, so anticipatory contraction of the muscle increases to some extent the blood pressure, cardiac output उसको increase करता है, उसको भी raise करता है. तो ये आखिरी में हमें रेस्पिरेटरी वेव के साथ ओपनिंग ऑफ द thoracic cage, that is inspiration, and then the expiration. This will affect the venous drainage, the veins which are emptying into the right atrium. So that is the respiratory wave. 4 to 6 millimeter of mercury rise and or fall in the blood pressure with each respiratory cycle may occur. Just 4 to 5, 6 months, but this is the very rapid. This is again rapid mechanism. Breathing signals spill over to the vasomotor center. एक बात तो ये respiratory center से भी breathing signal will go to the vasomotor center to cause the effect on blood pressure as well. But simply this opening of the cage, physical part of this also affects this. So breathing signal spill over to the vasomotor center to cause the effect on the blood pressure as well. But inspiration decreases the pressure in the thoracic cage. Inspiration में क्या होता है? That is opening of the cage. That is the dimensions of the this will increase. Diaphragm नीचे जाएगा, cage ऊपर move करेगा. Pressure will fall in the thoracic cage, and so fall in the thoracic cage में pressure कम हो गया. Expansion of the thoracic vessel will occur. This will cause the decreased venous return. Pressure कम हो रहा है, तो venous return will be decreased. So there may be some fall in the blood pressure. वो इतना ज्यादा नहीं होता. एंड अपोजिट एक्सपायरेशन में क्या कर रहे हैं? दी डायफ्राम इज मूविंग अपवर्ड, रिब्स केज ऐसे होता है कि देयर इज रिड्यूस्ड डायमेंशंस ऑफ द thoracic cage and there is more pressure inside, and this will cause the more venous drainage. So squeezing of the thoracic vessel and increased venous return and cardiac output and blood pressure. So थोड़ा सा फर्क ये भी होता है. ये दो फिजिकल फॉर्म में और some spill over of the signal to the vasomotor center may affect the blood pressure. Just 4 to 6 millimeter का change आ सकती है during inspiration and expiration. That is, during inspiration blood pressure will be reduced, and during expiration it may be increased. During deep inspiration, of course, this oscillation may be as high as this. Deep inspiration, expiration will make the 20 millimeter of mercury rise or decrease in the pressure during inspiration and expiration respectively. So these were the slides referred to the rapid control of the system. Today, main topic of today's discussion is the intermediate control of the arterial pressure, intermediate mechanisms. Rapidly acting mechanism, they are within seconds or within minutes, आप कह लें ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा, within minutes, very quick. But intermediate mechanism, they start after a few minutes, and they may take maybe more than that. A few minutes to a few hours you can call that. उसमें टाइम भी लग सकता है, ज़्यादा लग सकता है. वो डायग्राम हमने देखी थी कि कौन कौन से सिस्टम लेट शुरू होते हैं, फिर लेट तक वो आगे बढ़ते रहते हैं. Those intermediate mechanisms. And finally, long-term control is the renal body fluid system we are going to discuss in next lecture. Intermediate mechanism, more rapid. Nervous mechanisms are very rapid. All those rapid mechanisms which we discussed in the previous lecture, these are the nervous mechanisms. These intermediate mechanisms are mostly the humoral system and some other phenomena. उसको हम दोनों को देखते हैं. Hormonal system, कुछ हार्मोन्स हैं जो यहाँ इंटरमीडिएट मैकेनिज्म में काम करती हैं, और एंड दी कुछ और स्मूथ मसल की प्रॉपर्टीज हैं जो इसमें काम करती हैं, एंड दी स्टार्लिंग फोर्सेस हैं जो इसमें काम करती हैं. इंटरमीडिएट मैकेनिज्म इंक्लूड वन हार्मोन वेसोप्रेसिन, दैट इज एडीएच. उसको हमने किडनी के रिलेशन में एडीएच बोलते हैं, लेकिन ब्लड प्रेशर के रिलेशन में दैट द सेम हार्मोन इज नोन एज वेसोप्रेसिन, दैट इज अ पावरफुल वेसोकंस्ट्रिक्टर. उसको मैकेनिज्म कैसे काम करता है. Then there is another hormone produced from the atrium that is known as ANP. ANP, atrial natriuretic polypeptide उसको कहते हैं. ANP, atrial natriuretic polypeptide or atrial natriuretic mechanism we are going to talk about. ये भी hormonal mechanism है. Then there is property of the smooth muscles of the blood vessels, which is termed as the stress relaxation phenomena. Delayed compliance we discussed when we are talking about the expansibility of the blood vessel. May we talked about this stress relaxation phenomena वहाँ पे discuss किया था. That also contributes in the intermediate mechanism of the blood pressure control. Then the capillary fluid shift mechanism, Starling forces, shift are the filtration forces, the Starling forces which are responsible for the filtration of the fluid or absorption of the fluid. They may be in the favor of more filtration or favor of more absorption. Unke abnormal will affect the blood pressure as well. The volume of the blood volume का effect होता है. The blood volume may be increased to increase the blood pressure, or may be reduced to reduce the blood pressure. So that is capillary fluid shift mechanism. Then the renin-angiotensin system is the one, another humoral mechanism or hormonal mechanism you can call. We are going to talk about these, the 5-6 important mechanisms which are the intermediate mechanisms of the blood pressure control. अब हम एक को vasopressin mechanism, first one. Vasopressin mechanism, ADH, the antidiuretic hormone released from the posterior pituitary in response to, now we are concerned with the blood pressure. We will talk about the blood pressure stimulus. Other ADH has got the other stimuli as well. उसकी production or controls osmotic regulation, वो अलग बात है. But we are concerned with the blood pressure, so we are to. So ADH is released from the posterior pituitary in response to reduced blood pressure. Actually, it is in response to reduce blood volume, but that contributes, affects the blood pressure. So we can call this, whenever the blood pressure falls due to reduced blood volume, then ADH is produced. Actually, it is the part of the volume reflex, कुछ हमने शायद जिक्र किया था हमने. So ADH is released from the posterior pituitary and respond to decreased blood pressure due to reduced blood volume. Now you can add it. इसको हम ऐड कर सकते हैं. तो ब्लड वॉल्यूम की वजह से जो ब्लड प्रेशर गिरता है उससे भी एडीएच पैदा होती है. डिक्रीज ब्लड वॉल्यूम लिखा हुआ है, डिक्रीज ब्लड प्रेशर और डिक्रीज ब्लड वॉल्यूम दोनों को हम जमा कर लें. डिक्रीज Actually, the stimulus for this ADH production is this decreased stretch of the atrium. Atrium का stretch का कम होना. Normal volume, normal venous return is causing the atrial stretch. 0 millimeter of mercury pressure in the right atrium. This is the normal. Normal venous return and normal atrial stretch and normal right atrial pressure is 0 millimeter of mercury. This is one. When blood volume is reduced, there will be less stretch of the atrium. Pressure maybe 0 millimeter of mercury, slightly less maybe. But pressure is not important. It is the volume. If there is reduced blood volume, atria will be stretched less. चाहे प्रेशर 0 millimeter of mercury रहे या थोड़ा सा कम भी हो जाए, actually it is the less stretch of the degree stretch of the atrium which will lead to the stimulation of ADH. या इसको ज्यादा बेहतर तरीके से बोलूं, normal stretch of the atrium is inhibiting ADH. और more stretch of the atrium will further inhibit ADH. Okay, अब ज्यादा अच्छा हो गया. If the atrium is stretched more, ADH will be inhibited. Now, opposite, if it is not stretched, that inhibition will be gone. Normal stretch is to some extent inhibiting the ADH. When this stretch, normal stretch से भी कम stretch है, then this inhibitory signals will be absent. So there will be stimulation. आपने कहीं पढ़ा होगा, many hormones, many endocrine glands have got tendency to over secrete. कि अगर उनको इनहिबिट ना करें तो वो सिक्रेट करते हैं. दिस इज एडीएच का भी प्रोडक्शन, इट इज बीइंग इनहिबिटेड बाय द एट्रियल स्ट्रेच. जब एट्रियल स्ट्रेच नहीं होगी या कम होगी, दिस इनहिबिशन विल बी गॉन, सो देयर विल बी प्रोडक्शन ऑफ द वेसोप्रेसिन. नाउ इट शुड बी कॉल्ड एज वेसोप्रेसिन. एडीएच correct name, but it should be called as vasopressin pressure. So इसका काम क्या है? It causes vasoconstriction. It causes vasoconstriction to increase the blood pressure. We know when vasoconstriction occurs, peripheral resistance increases, and the very important factor for the determination of the blood pressure out of those two is one is peripheral resistance, cardiac output, or peripheral resistance, both. So peripheral resistance will be increased by the vasopressor effect of this vasopressin or ADH. Then this will cause the increased blood pressure. Yes, you can add this ADH वाला function होगा, but this will take more time. Intermediate mechanism you can add. That is, this ADH will cause absorption of water from the kidney tubule. That water will be added to the body fluid, so decreased blood volume may be उसको opposite to decreased blood negative feedback. आप कहें there will be increased blood volume, that will also increase the blood volume and blood pressure will be released. तो ये जरा relatively जल्दी काम शुरू होगा, and the water absorption वाला निजाम for the more absorption of water ADH will cause, and this will add. तो दोनों तरीकों से वेसोप्रेसर इफेक्ट तो जल्दी होगा कंपैरेटिवली. इंटरमीडिएट मैकेनिज्म है लेकिन कंपैरेटिवली अर्लियर देन द वाटर एब्जॉर्प्शन मैकेनिज्म. दोनों काम कर रहे हैं. तो वेसोप्रेसर इफेक्ट एज वेल एज द वाटर एब्जॉर्प्शन फ्रॉम द किडनी ट्यूब्यूल्स वो भी काम करेंगे. एडीएच वाला काम, बोथ आर पार्ट ऑफ द इंटरमीडिएट मैकेनिज्म. तो वेसोप्रेसिन, सो इंक्रीज प्रोडक्शन ऑफ वेसोप्रेसिन, इट विल कॉज द वेसोकंस्ट्रिक्शन. ये तो जल्दी होगा. एंड वाटर एब्जॉर्प्शन आल्सो कंट्रीब्यूट. वाटर एब्जॉर्प्शन भी तो करेगा ना, एडीएच आ गया. इट विल कॉज एब्जॉर्प्शन ऑफ वाटर इन किडनी ट्यूब्यूल, बट दैट विल टेक मोर टाइम एज कंपेयर्ड टू द वेसोप्रेसर इफेक्ट. वेसोप्रेसर, एज सून एज द एडीएच इज प्रोड्यूस्ड, इट इज सर्कुलेटिंग इन द बॉडी, इट इज कॉजिंग वेसोकंस्ट्रिक्शन throughout the body. But the ADH will act on the kidney tubule and gradually the water will be absorbed. That will also contribute toward intermediate mechanism में वो भी part है. Causes increased absorption of water from the kidney tubules as well. वो भी बात है. So this is intermediate mechanism में first जो हमने describe किया, that is the vasopressin or the ADH mechanism, humoral hormonal mechanism. Then the atrial natriuretic mechanism. This is again another hormone. That is atrial natriuretic hormone, atrial natriuretic polypeptide, ANP उसको बोल देते हैं, और हार्मोन बोल. atrial natriuretic hormone or polypeptide, it is a polypeptide, is released from the cardiac muscles, atrial muscles. When atrial blood volume is increased, ये opposite है. Atrial blood volume, when ATI is stretched more, this ANP will be produced. ATH का क्या हमने किया? When it is stretched less, then ATH will be produced from the posterior pituitary, और जो उसका काम है vasopressor effect और water absorption effect. This is opposite. That is, ADH will be produced when blood pressure falls due to decreased blood volume, and this ANP will be produced when blood pressure increases due to increased volume. ये भी volume reflex है. ये इंक्रीज वॉल्यूम पे ये पैदा होगी. एटीएच वाज प्रोड्यूस पिछली स्लाइड में ड्यू टू डिक्रीज ब्लड वॉल्यूम. वो एटीएल स्ट्रेच कम हुआ था, या इंक्रीज ब्लड वॉल्यूम काजिंग इंक्रीज स्ट्रेच ऑफ द एट्रियम, एंड दिस हार्मोन इज प्रोड्यूस हियर. ये एट्रिया से पैदा होती है, एट्रियल मसल से पैदा होते हैं, कार्डियक मसल से पैदा होते हैं, एट्रियल मसल से. सो मोर स्ट्रेच विल कॉज द प्रोडक्शन ऑफ दिस एडीएच. ADH, this is known as ANP, atrial natriuretic polypeptide, or atrial natriuretic hormone, and name बता रहा है, it will cause the diuresis. वो ADH था, that was causing opposite to diarrhea. This is diuretic hormone and natriuretic polyhormone. Sodium and water loss in the urine. It causes more loss of sodium, more loss of water in the urine. And it reduces the blood. Effect भी opposite है. Stimulus भी opposite है, तो effect भी opposite ही होगा. So it will cause the atrial stretch. जब लेस होगा, this hormone ANP, atrial natriuretic polypeptide, is produced, and this is causes decreased reabsorption of sodium and from the kidney tubule, and it will cause loss of sodium in the urine, and it causes the osmotic diuresis, loss of water as well. प्राइमरीली इसका सोडियम पर इफेक्ट है, लेकिन सोडियम जब लॉस होगा तो वाटर भी लॉस होगा. Whenever any molecule is being lost in the urine, it will cause the corresponding amount of water loss due to osmotic mechanism. जब ग्लूकोज लॉस होती है डायबिटिक लोगों में, there is more loss of water as well. Any particulate matter, any osmotically active particle passed on into the urine will cause the corresponding amount of water loss as well, चाहे ग्लूकोज हो चाहे सोडियम हो. So this ANP is causing primarily the loss of sodium. Natriuretic polypeptide, it also causes loss of water, इसलिए it is known as natriuretic. दोनों काम, natrium and diuretic भी है. So the osmotic diuresis, more loss of water will also occur, and this will cause the reduced blood volume. So the atrial stretch will be gone. Reduced blood volume, opposite to this. Negative feedback mechanisms होते हैं, decreased blood volume and decreased blood pressure. So दो mechanism हो गए, दोनों opposite. The vasopressor mechanism is blood pressure को increase करने के काम है when it is reduced due to reduced blood volume. ANP opposite है. ANP is produced when the blood pressure is increased due to increased blood volume, and it reduces the blood pressure. Then stress relaxation response. This is the property of the smooth muscles of the blood vessels. What is that? It is the property of the smooth muscle. If they are stretched and they are kept stretched, they adopt new length. Adjustment of the smooth blood vessels according to available blood volume. If the blood volume is increased, there will be stretch on the muscles. They are stretched, so there should be increase in the pressure. But when they are kept stretched, there is the creeping of the filaments, and they adjust their length, adjust to the new circumstances. So their उनकी tension कम हो जाएगी, pressure will fall. This is known as the stress relaxation. पहले तो वो stretch होके उन पे stretch हुए थे, but there is the relaxation of the filament. इस stress को अगर continue करेंगे, वो नई length को adopt कर लेंगे. क्या मतलब है? If my blood volume is 5 liter, 1 liter is added, there will be distension of the blood vessels, so they are tense. Blood vessels are tense, pressure has increased, but later on my vascular system will adopt, उसकी अपनी capacity भी बढ़ जाएगी. Stress relaxation phenomena से new length of the muscle fiber, more length of the muscle fiber will increase the total vascular capacity, and वो भी 6 liter हो जाएगी, so pressure will fall. So the adjustment of the smooth muscles in the blood vessel responds to change in the blood volume. दोनों तरफ change in the blood volume है तो increase change को क्या है? Blood volume कम हो जाए, the smooth muscle will adopt to smaller length as well. वॉल्यूम अगर 5 लीटर से 4 लीटर हो जाए, द मसल्स विल लेंथ विल डिक्रीज, और वो टोटल कैपेसिटी ऑफ द वास्कुलर ट्री भी 4 लीटर के करीब आने की कोशिश करेगी. So the response to change in the blood volume increase or decrease. So the ability of the vascular tree to adjust its capacity according to available blood volume. 5 लीटर पर जितना ब्लड वॉल्यूम है 6 पे देयर विल बी सच, लेकिन लेटर ऑन इट विल अडॉप्ट अकॉर्डिंग टू अवेलेबल वॉल्यूम, उसका भी टोटल कैपेसिटी भी 6 लीटर या उसके करीब हो जाएगी. इफ द ब्लड लॉस अकर्स देन द टोटल कैपेसिटी वास्कुलर ट्री की 5 लीटर की थी, 1 लीटर हैज बीन लॉस्ट, देन दिस विल क्लोज ओवर, दे विल अडॉप्ट टू न्यू लेंथ reverse stress relaxation, that is known as, छोटे हो जाएंगे फाइबर, and the total vascular capacity will be also 4 liter or just near 4 liter. So the available volume के मुताबिक vascular capacity is increased or decreased. Increased volume of the blood will cause stress relaxation of the blood vessel. There will be reduced blood pressure, or opposite. That is, reduced blood volume will cause the reverse stress relaxation. Length of the muscle fiber will be reduced. So reverse stress relaxation, contraction उसको आप कह लें, of the blood vessel will occur, and that will increase the blood pressure. So this is again the property of the smooth muscles in the blood vessel, property of the vascular tree to adopt its capacity according to available blood volume. ब्लड वॉल्यूम अगर ज्यादा है तो कैपेसिटी भी अडॉप्ट कर लेती है नए के लिए. इफ द ब्लड वॉल्यूम इज रिड्यूस, कैपेसिटी भी रिड्यूस हो जाती है बाय दिस फिनोमेना ऑफ स्ट्रेस रिलैक्सेशन और रिवर्स स्ट्रेस रिलैक्सेशन फिनोमेना. सो दिस इज अनदर इंटरमीडिएट मैकेनिज्म ऑफ द कंट्रोल. नाउ द कैपिलरी फ्लूइड शिफ्ट, that means capillary fluid shift means whenever there is we are going to see, we are discussing microcirculation. When the mean capillary pressure, normal mean capillary pressure is 17.3 millimeter of mercury. If it is increased, that means this is the filtration force. Capillary pressure is the filtration force. If it is increased, that will increase the net force of the filtration. Net filtration force will increase. There will be more filtration of the fluid. What is that? When the blood pressure increases, arterial pressure increases, capillary pressure increases. So stalling forces, अगली slide आ रही है, stalling forces will be in the favor of more filtration. So more filtration will occur. More filtration means blood volume is being reduced. So blood pressure will reduce. So increase capillary pressure उसको opposite करेगी. So it is blood pressure. और opposite, when there is decrease mean capillary pressure अगर 17 से कम हो जाए, then the filtration force is also reduced. This is the very important filtration force. So this will cause the more absorption. Net absorption forces will increase. So this will cause the more absorption of the fluid, and the blood volume will be in expansion of the interstitial fluid will be added to the blood, and it will try to increase the total blood volume and blood pressure as well. वो capillary इस phenomena को कहते हैं capillary fluid shift phenomena. ये कैसे वो ये स्टार्लिंग फोर्सेस हमने देखी हैं. मीन फोर्सेस विच आर मूविंग, ये थे दी नॉर्मल स्टेट ऑफ द अफेयर. मीन फोर्सेस, मीन कैपिलरी प्रेशर इज 17.3 मिलीमीटर ऑफ मर्करी. नेगेटिव इंटरस्टिशियल प्रेशर, दिस इज द आउटवर्ड फोर्स -3 मिलीमीटर, इसलिए 3 उसको हमने आउटवर्ड फोर्स मार्क किया. एंड इंटरस्टिशियल कोलॉइड ऑस्मोटिक प्रेशर ऑफ 28.3 मिलीमीटर ऑफ मर्करी. ये दिस इज द नॉर्मल इक्विलिब्रियम में स्टार्लिंग फोर्सेस इन इक्विलिब्रियम में हो तो ये है 28.3 मिलीमीटर ऑफ मर्करी. और दी नेट इनवर्ड फोर्स, एब्जॉर्प्शन फोर्सेस कौन सी है? दैट इज दी प्लाज्मा कोलॉइड ऑस्मोटिक प्रेशर ऑफ 28 मिलीमीटर ऑफ मर्करी. और नेट फिल्ट्रेशन फोर्स आप देखें, आप ज्यादा दे आर इन दी फेवर ऑफ 0.3 मिलीमीटर ऑफ मर्करी का, जो वो हमने लिम्फेटिक्स ड्रेनेज की बात की थी. आर्टीरियल एंड पे कैपिलरी प्रेशर ज्यादा होता है, ये तो मीन है ना, दिस इज द मीन कैपिलरी प्रेशर. आर्टीरियल एंड पे तो ज्यादा होता है, दैट इज मे बी 25 to 30 मिलीमीटर ऑफ मर्करी हो सकता है, लेकिन ये कम होता जाता है, मीन है. तो इफ दिस मीन कम हो गया, दैट इज आर्टीरियल एंड पर भी कम होगा, वीनस एंड पर भी कम होगा, मीन कम होगा, तो दिस विल बी इन फेवर ऑफ मोर फिल्ट्रेशन. दिस इज इन normal equilibrium is in favor of more filtration. You can see ये 0.3 मिलीमीटर उधर, अगर ये अपोजिट हो जाए तो इन दी फेवर ये कम हो जाएगा, ये ज्यादा इतना, ये तो इतना ही रहेगा, ये कम हो जाएगा. तो ये दिस विल बी मोर एब्जॉर्प्शन ऑफ द फ्लूइड विल अकर. ये हम देख रहे हैं आगे अगली स्लाइड पे यही है कैपिलरी फ्लूइड शिफ्ट में क्या होता है ड्यू टू द इम्बैलेंस इन द स्टालिंग इक्विलिब्रियम होता क्या है व्हेन ब्लड प्रेशर फॉल्स net filtration force because of the fall in the capillary pressure net filtration pressure in favor of more absorption जब ब्लड प्रेशर कम है तो नेट फिल्ट्रेशन प्रेशर अंदर फिल्ट्रेशन प्रेशर कम हो जाएगा तो एब्जॉर्प्शन ज्यादा होगी इन फेवर ऑफ मोर एब्जॉर्प्शन so more fluid will be absorbed movement of the fluid from the interstitium into the capillary space will occur and it will increase the blood volume and agar opposite ho jaye if the blood pressure is more the capillary pressure is not 17.3 mean capillary pressure is 18.3 19.3 so filtration so increase net filtration pressure in favor of more filtration मोर फिल्ट्रेशन होगा तो वो तो फिर लिम्फेटिक्स लेके जाएंगे ब्लड फ्लो ब्लड देयर विल बी मूवमेंट ऑफ द फ्लूइड इनटू द इंटरस्टिशियल स्पेसेस मोर फिल्ट्रेशन देन एब्जॉर्प्शन विल अकर एंड द फ्लूइड विल बी शिफ्टेड फ्रॉम द कैपिलरी इंट्रावास्कुलर टू द इंटरस्टिशियल कंपार्टमेंट एंड दैट विल रिड्यूस द प्रेशर and शायद probably the last one that is the renin-angiotensin system this is the last mechanism we are going to talk what is that we know the renin whenever there is fall in the blood pressure renin is released from the kidney in response to low blood pressure ये kidney का काम है वहां से juxtaglomerular apparatus we talked about somewhere juxtaglomerular apparatus there will be production of the renin and that renin promotes the production of angiotensin 2 mechanism is renin converts the angiotensinogen into angiotensin 1 angiotensinogen is the plasma protein usko convert karta hai angiotensin 1 and that angiotensin 1 is converted into angiotensin 2 in lung epithelium आखिरी diagram में अगली slide में हम देखेंगे angiotensin 2 and this causes the vasoconstriction this is again vasoconstrictor mechanism but angiotensin 2 का एक और काम भी है this है vasoconstriction and aldosterone secretion this also affects the aldosterone it affects the zona glomerulosa in the adrenal cortex and aldosterone is also produced so vasoconstriction भी कर रही है aldosterone causes absorption of sodium and water और total blood volume भी increase करता है दोनों काम हो रहे हैं angiotensin so vasoconstriction will increase the peripheral resistance and aldosterone will cause the more absorption of salt and water from the kidney tubule that will increase the blood volume and cardiac output will be increased so both factors which are determinant of the blood pressure both will increase and the blood pressure will increase so whenever there is response to low blood pressure this renin-angiotensin system will increase the blood pressure and both are written here that is peripheral resistance and cardiac output both are increased by this mechanism and blood pressure will raise diagrammatically ये diagram देखिए ये decreased blood pressure will cause the renin production from the kidneys this renin will convert the angiotensinogen into angiotensin 1 angiotensinogen is produced in the liver as all the plasma proteins are produced in the liver so angiotensin 1 when it is passes through the lungs there is angiotensin converting enzyme in the lung epithelium that will convert angiotensin 1 into angiotensin 2 this angiotensin 2 causes vasoconstriction and that increases the peripheral resistance that increases the blood pressure so this angiotensin 2 also causes the production of aldosterone and aldosterone causes the increased water absorption from the kidney tubule and it increases the blood volume and blood pressure is also increased so that is how these intermediate mechanism they operate to increase or decrease the blood pressure intermediate mechanism and next time inshallah we are going to talk about the long term control of the blood pressure by the renal body fluid system that is a long discussion so I have divided that lecture into two so next time our long term control of the blood pressure one next lecture will be hope you are following me if you have got some problem question पूछ सकते हैं एंड हमारी इसको पेज को लाइक करें सब्सक्राइब करें और शेयर करें ताकि ये ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोगों तक पहुंच सके होप टू सी यू नेक्स्ट टाइम थैंक यू